How's it going? Welcome to the Gunpla Lair. Today we're looking at a master grade, the Gundam Barbatos Lupus from Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. Many Gunpla fans have been awaiting this kit, at least as far as I've seen. Well, this seems to be true for any MG from the IBO series. Both the vanilla Barbatos and Vidar had considerable hype. I myself am still hoping they go through with that MG Floros that won a Gundam that info poll a while back. Anyway, now we get a Barbatos Lupus, the third retail MG release from IBO. In the anime, the Lupus is the upgrade of the Barbatos as we enter the second season. In kit form, would this also be an upgrade of the 2019 MG Barbatos? Let's find out. To start, let's zoom out to view the overall look of the MG Barbatos Lupus. The mobile suit design is heroic and elegant, but also vicious at the same time. Let me put it this way. If this was a knight, he'll get you out of harm's way, but wouldn't be gentle about it. The finished model depicts this perfectly, and then some. It boasts an imposing silhouette enhanced by some adjustments to the proportions of the official line art, which leans more into the slender look. The model gives off a bulkier appearance in comparison. Before I continue, let me mention some little touch-ups that I did with this kit. Some grey panel lining for the white armor pieces, and brown on the yellows and red. You can see a bit of red on the frame here. I used the steady fluorescent red for those. As the name suggests, this panel liner glows under black light. I think it suits the frame well, but what do you think? I also brushed on some white on the fingers using this soft tip display marker. These parts on the side skirts, I put on some chrome silver using another marker from Display. And that's it. This is still basically an out-of-box build. Didn't put on the decals as well. We'll be waiting for some water slides to be released. Going back to the model's aesthetics, let's zoom in to get to the smaller details. Getting more specific on the chosen proportions here, the limbs got some extra bulk, though they still look lengthy. The side skirts are also made longer. The way these are designed makes it look like it's wearing a long overcoat. Now, this is a personal bias. I tend to like characters with these long overcoats. Guess I have to show my full appearance. So yeah, I love these about the MG Barbatos Lupus. The armor sculpt on this model is crisp. Edges and angles are sufficiently sharp where intended. It has some nice curves in a few places to give some variety. Quite a good amount of surface detailing here. On the outside, every piece of armor has some panel lines. Lining opportunities are even greater on the internal frame, though most will be covered up, of course. There are raised detailing on the armor as well, complementing the panel lines. The parts of the frame that show through further enhances the detailing. I especially like the pistons with their nice plating. For colors, the white dominates. Quite the bright shade on this one. The Gundam protagonist touches of color is more sparse on this MS compared to other protagonist Gundams. We have a deep and dark blue, a saturated bright red, and a bright yellow. There is also the gray of the frame, which has a slight brown tinge. A darker gray is used mainly on the weapons, but also on a few parts of the MS. We get a touch of green implemented with translucent parts, found on the eyes, and here on the legs. All these aspects combine for a beautiful Barbatos Lupus model. Accessories, starting with the weapons. We get a pair of arm guns, the twin maces, and the main event, the sword mace. As the name suggests, the arm guns are mounted on the arms. Simply attach each to the dedicated points on each forearm. When the Lupus needs to fire them, you can simply rotate them to point forward, or whichever way you want really. Each is on a slider. You slide it back for storage mode, and forward for firing mode. In universe, this sliding movement is meant to absorb the recoil. I suppose you can use this if you plan on doing some stop motion animation with this kit. The twin maces look good with a moderate amount of detailing. I actually like these maces because they're closer to the length of actual historical maces in proportion to the user. Though of course, the heads are proportionally larger. Rule of cool, I suppose. Then you have the sword mace. Nice and detailed as well. It's quite long, taller than the Gundam itself. to wield the melee weapons, you get dedicated finger parts. Simple in usage. The Barbatos Lupus dual wields the maces, but nothing stopping you from putting them on the model one at a time. The sword mace simply slots on either hand via the aforementioned fingers. The model can wield it single or double-handed. There are 2 points on the handle with extrusions, which prevent the hands from sliding up and down the handle. Though you don't have to slot the fingers specifically on these, you still get the flexibility on where you position the hands. For the rest of the interchangeable fingers, you have the open hand and closed fist. They both come in pairs. For utility parts, you have a pair of adapters that attaches to the backpack, so you can mount the melee weapons on it. Then, you get an action-based adapter, which fits underneath the waist unit of the MS, designed for use with the Bandai action bases. Though you also have a 3mm slot here at the back of the waist. Not explicitly indicated in the manual, but nothing stopping you from using it with bases or stands with a compatible attachment point. Oh, almost forgot. There's a standing Mikazuki figure. These figures are a pretty nice extra for giving a sense of scale to the model. Could also be a nice challenge for beginner to intermediate painters. And that wraps up the accessories. The neck connects to the torso with a C-clip hinge with a ball joint at the top that slots into a hinge socket. The construction allows a full range of motion for the head. Only the rotation is limited as the elaborate armor pieces will clash with these spikes on the collar. The torso crunch is facilitated by a joint in the chest in between the AHAB reactors, and a second one here near the waist. Range towards the front and back are pretty good. No mid-torso twist, but you can rotate the torso side to side via the waist connection point. Though be cautious when the torso is perpendicular to the waist, as this unlocks the joint connection. Not really an issue, just something to keep in mind. The sideways tilt is pretty nice, showcasing some of that piston gimmick. It is facilitated by a joint mid-torso and can be enhanced by utilizing a rotating joint in the waist. The arm connects to a combination joint construction. The pauldrons tilt up and down independently, giving way to the arm raise, which is a bit more than parallel to the ground. Arm rotates fully at the connection point. Upper arm cut allows full rotation. It has a double hinge elbow, not quite a full bend, but more than 90 degrees. We get a combination joint at the wrist. The peg connection allows rotation, a joint allows tilting on this axis, and another one allows tilting on this axis. The thumb is on its own small ball joint. The skirting can all be moved to give way to the leg movement. The front ones are each on a ball joint. The side skirts can rotate and tilt at the connection point, and also pivot at this point. The back skirts can tilt up and down. The hip joint can drop down, but this is facilitated via rotation of the hip peg. As such, when dropped down, the leg raises at an outwards angle. You'll have to adjust it if you want the leg pointing straight. That said, the frontward and sideways kick are pretty good. The thigh rotation is limited by the shape of the armor, unless turned to the side. Double hinge knee, similar bend range as the elbows. Another showcase of combination joints here on the ankles. You have a rotation point here, allowing the foot to swing forwards and backwards. This circular section contains a rotation mechanism, allowing the foot to swing sideways. This heel armor moves slightly, but the actual heel is just static. The front section of the foot can tilt up and down. Each of the claws can move independently. The ankle guard can swing up and down. Over on the backpack, the whole unit can tilt up and down. This thruster section can swing as well. Each side contains the sub-arms with multiple joints that allow flexible movement. You can use them as extra support for the model to handle weapons, or depicting poses where the sub-arms are transferring the weapons to the suit's hands. As for additional moving parts, you can slide the cockpit door, and this red section of the pauldrons can open slightly, where you can attach the blue energy effect part from the upcoming expansion set. You can slide it outwards to increase the tilt range. Even with the HG and non-grade counterparts, Bandai puts a significant focus towards the internal frame of the IBO Gundams. This is of course elevated to a way higher level with the MGs. Like the Barbatos and the Vidar before it, the Lupus boasts an intricate frame that is both fun to build and play with. Almost a shame to put on the armor. Makes you want to buy another copy just to build and detail up the frame, yeah? Well played, Bandai. Perhaps the most obvious feature are the numerous hydraulic cylinders throughout the frame. The pistons go in or out of their corresponding cylinder barrels as you move the respective parts. They are designed so that even with the armor, most of these are still visible. Wouldn't want that nice silver plating to go to waste, right? As shown in the articulation, the joint engineering enables great movement range across the board with combination joints employed in different areas. There are still some usage of C-clips, such as in the pauldrons, though I haven't encountered any issues with them as I'm moving the kit around. Good news is that they ditched that with the foot construction, which was a common source of headache in the prior MG Barbatos. The build is a bit more involved than many master grades. There are certain steps where you need to pay attention, as some parts may still attach even when in the wrong orientation. However, if you built the MG Barbatos or Vidar before, this would be a familiar experience. Something to consider if you want to fully build the frame first. The manual does indicate where the armoring begins, though for the feet, you may want to deviate here a bit. Attach the G1 and G215 parts for the heel. Otherwise, positioning the foot to make it stand will be awkward. The parts are easy enough to slide off once you decide to put the armor on. Speaking of armor parts, putting them on did not cause a drastic reduction in the articulation range. In terms of seam lines, you may want to address those on the forearms. Color separation is good with ample usage of parts layering, as you put in some parts from behind, creating detail as they show through the front piece. Examples are the yellow vents, and of course, the Tekadan logo on the shoulders. Pretty beginner-friendly gate placement generally. There are quite a good amount of narrow gates that lots of parts may actually come off on their own. This may be a detriment since it's always better to take off parts with intention. I didn't personally encounter any problems this time, but in past kits I've built, particularly HGs, there is a tendency for nasty stress marks and even gouged out plastic, which may require extra cleanup. There are a few undergates, mostly on the gold pieces. Overall, cleaning up the nubs is relatively easy, with majority of the armor being white, and almost the whole frame consisting of soft plastic. Extra care is needed for the dark gray and blue parts. Progressive sanding is recommended. Once completed, the model is playable yet stable, just from an out-of-box build. Freshly assembled, there are no problems to address. From personal experience with the modern no polycap master grades, these things can stay solid for a good amount of time. Of course, results may vary, particularly depending on how much you post them around. So, MG Barbatos Lupus, huh? Yeah, this is an excellent kit. Beautiful, functional, solid. It did improve upon some of the issues in the prior MG Barbatos, so it does parallel the anime, with the Lupus being the upgrade. No complaints, at least nothing substantial. If there's any gripe I have, it'd be that Bandai hasn't announced a 1/100 mobile armor hash mount to go with this. Or that it makes me want even more IBO MGs. And at the rate MGs are coming out, that could mean a long wait. That said, comment below which IBO mech you'd want to get an MG next. I'm partial to the Grey Shield, though that's probably unlikely. If ever, Bandai will release a Grace first, and the Shield will be a P Bandai. Something with a better chance would be the Floros. Anyway, that's it from me. Give the video a like if this has been informative. Check out the other reviews I've got on the channel, or take a look at this kit's unboxing. See you on the next video.